What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I finally went back to the movie theaters. That's right. I kind of had no choice, to be honest, because you can't find this movie anywhere else. And the movie I'm talking about is Chaos Walking, starring Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, and Mads Mikkelsen. What kind of name is? First of all, Tom Holland, aka your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, aka Mr. Peter Parker himself. That's all we've known him as for years and years now. Okay, and he's had other roles. He's had other movies he's been in, but none of those roles were as notable as Spider-Man. All right, which is an issue with me because I really wish that Tom Holland would do a darker role with it. He would step out of that goody two-shoe image and step into a dimmer light. Let's see a darker Tom Holland, please. I'm not talking about the black version of Tom Holland. I'm talking about just, okay? Now we might get something like that later on this year with a movie called Cherry, which is a drug addict type movie, which reminds me of a movie that Leonardo DiCaprio did years ago called The Basketball Diaries, which, if you don't know, that was Leonardo DiCaprio's first lead role, breakout lead role. All right. I'm old enough to know that. I'm old enough to know that's right. And maybe Cherry will be just as good as that or better. But we shall see. And I digress because the real question is Chaos Walking going to be the one that puts him in that dim light? We shall see. We shall see. Let's go. Chaos Walking. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, and if you don't know, that means you are not a big of a MCU fan as you thought you were. All right? Because us real fans have been waiting for a minute now. All right? This movie came from a book. 3 books. All right? I forget the exact titles of all those books, but it came from those books. So I'm here to see if the adaptation works well on screen. Chaos Walking. It's pretty much about a young guy named Todd, played by Tom Holland, who with the rest of his village somehow lands on another planet, which was not explained, I don't think, where all the men and only the men have this power called the noise. Somewhat like a telepathic power where your thoughts are pretty much broadcasted to everybody around you. You have to learn how to hide them or whatever, or suppress them. Now, for some reason, all the women within that group are murdered. All right. This is blamed on some other causal event. All right. I will not mention. But, yeah, they have that going on. So there's no women on this village. And while that's going on, another ship crashes onto this planet. All right. Nobody survives except one woman named Viola. One young woman. Probably the same age as Todd. All right. So, of course, she bumps into Todd. He has never seen a woman. Ever. Never. So you can imagine how he interacted with her through the whole movie. And on top of this, now the village wants to hunt her down because they know that somebody else is there on that planet. All right, so that's pretty much the concept of this movie. All right. Positives. I give this movie a lot of credit for going there. All right. The concept, it's somewhat fresh, because you have to imagine a whole movie where really the people's mouths don't move and they're doing a lot of telepathic communication. This would be the king of that. This movie would be the king of all movies when it comes to telepathic communication. Okay, trust me on that. So you really have to get into this type of idea, or that this is going on. All right, and they really pulled that off. They did pull that off. Not even gonna lie, they really pulled that off, and I like that they had the gut to do it. All right. Now, with that said, it was very humorous. Once you get to the characters Todd and Viola, because Todd, once again, he's never been around a woman ever. So his thoughts, they embarrass him so many times. All right. He's so awkward. It starts to make her feel uncomfortable. And it's really humorous. It's very funny. It's very funny moments. It makes for a lot of laughs in this movie. Not even gonna lie. It's entertaining to just watch this guy fumble over and over again. You gotta imagine how would you feel if your thoughts were just come out and everybody could hear them, and this is a girl that you like. You have to learn how to suppress that stuff, or it's gonna sound crazy in your head. Okay, and that's how it comes out in this film. So I was entertained by that part very much. All right. Another thing I like about this movie, there's a big reveal that comes like mid-movie. All right, in the middle of it. It's not really a big twist, so to speak, because you can kind of see it leaning for that. And it answered a question that I had, because I had a lot of questions when I started watching the movie right off the bat, because this movie jumps right into so much stuff that you have to take in, and it makes you ask so many things, like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? What happened to this? Why you just throw us into it? It's like this. So one of my questions was, why were only the women murdered? Now, keep in mind what I told you earlier about someone taking the blame. There's really a whole lot more going on to it. And when they revealed it, I was like, oh, I mean, that makes sense. That really makes sense. I like that they kind of, stumbled upon that answer like that. Okay? Let's get into those negatives. First, I want to start off with someone I really can't call a great trick. There's a character in there. It's a black pastor or priest named Aaron, who throughout the movie picks on Todd constantly. Because you see that Todd's trying to suppress his memories every time he passes by him. And Aaron is not one to suppress anything. Matter of fact, he annoys everybody else in the village. Okay? And they can do the same thing he does. But he's just constantly like judging people. And saying people are going to go to hell and it's the end of the world. And they can hear that all the time. And he becomes... I start to hate him more than I hate the actual villain of the movie. I'm not going to mention who the actual villain of the movie is, but I start to hate him even more. I wanted him gone quicker than anything else. Okay, so I really can't call him a great trick, because as soon as he left, I could breathe again. Now, I have to say another negative, or a real negative, the mind reading. All right, now I know I said it was humorous for certain characters, but when you have to sit down and watch a full movie of nothing but people's thoughts constantly being projected, constantly being shown, heard, it's almost like, let's take it back to the X-Men type stuff. Let's take it back to mutants. like Professor X and Jean Grey and all that. Imagine them getting their mutant powers for the first time. All right, and they're hearing all these thoughts they can't control, and there's just a bunch of voices jumbled up in their brain, and they can't control what they hear and what's coming this way and what's coming that way. That's how it feels to watch this movie. Okay, you're constantly hearing stupid stuff. Just jumbling and rambling out of people's head. And you really want to shut some of that stuff up. It gets annoying. That gets really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you right now. You have to brace yourself for all the thoughts with all those cast members who can do the telepathic projection. It's gonna get tiresome. It's really gonna get tiresome. It did for me. All right. Now, another big issue that I had with this movie, the ending. The ending was so underwhelming. It was just so underwhelming. Like, there's like some big fight coming towards the end, right? I mean, given that you're probably going to find out who the villain is watching this movie. So when it comes to the end of the movie, everybody uses telepathic powers and all this stuff. With knowing that, the fight could have been so much better. The last conclusion, the confrontation, it could have been so much more entertaining than it was. I started to lose interest. Once I started seeing where this was going, I'm like, and yeah, I dozed off. I dozed off a little bit. I'm like, man, just wrap it up. Just wrap it up. This is boring. You could have came better than this. This is what I waited for. All the way to the end. This is what y'all gonna give me. This. I am not impressed. I am not impressed. Please stop. You know what I'm saying? I just no. And for a movie with Tom Holland, I expected a lot more. I really did. The bar is up this high. You can't even see my hand. The bar is up that high. And you see a movie where the fight, the last fight is like, well, honestly, this movie should have been rated R. I'm going to say that right now. This movie should have been rated R because it needed to have a lot more violent content to it. It was honestly missing something. This movie was honestly missing a lot. And violence was one of those things. A little bit of, sex, you would expect that in here too. Especially when you're meeting a woman for the first time. You've never had it, obviously. So we want to see that. Put some oomph to this. Yeah, it really should have been. I thought they could do it with a PG-13 rating. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. It's sci-fi, PG-13. I'll go for it. Whatever. No. Nah, that rating needs to go a little more to the risque. It needs to be a little more to it. Okay? I couldn't buy it. And so you know where this is going. I'm giving this an I. That's right. This movie gets an I. Alright? Now honestly, this movie had a lot going for it. There were so many points and things in this movie. There were moments where I was like, oh my God. Because there were some other reveals. Once you get the big reveal in the middle of the movie, other things start happening. Alright? And other things start unfolding. Like, oh my God. So this is what was going on the whole time. That could have meant a whole lot more if you would have just put another rating to this movie. Okay, I'm sorry. You gotta give me more. You gotta give me more. But I tell you what, It's 3 books. It's got to be 3 movies. So maybe part 2 will give us what we want. No, there's going to be a sequel. I know it. I want you to press that like button. Need you to share. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. I'm coming back.